just need to do this last part right.
I don't know. I don't even know what to do anymore. I was just so deep in it that I had to keep going.
When we think about process addictions, we tend to think of things like gambling, pornography, shopping, and even stuff like video games. But when we're thinking about Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, it's just a completely different beast altogether.
Minutes turned to hours, turned to days, into weeks. At this point, I wasn't even sure if there was an end in sight.
This is Ahmed, a 21-year-old man who enjoys playing Nintendo games in his free time. In fact, it's his absolute favorite activity. He likes to refer to himself as Ahmedto, Nintendo YouTuber guy. However, the games he's been trying as of late have been considerably unremarkable. As a result, he's on a search for something to break his boredom.
Maybe just to feel something.
You know, it's kind of weird to think of Super Monkey Ball as a platformer for how unique it is in comparison to many others. In Mario, you're a person that navigates through a world, and in Super Monkey Ball, you're a person that navigates through a world whilst in a ball.
In my head, I was making a point.
Honestly, I guess part of the reason that I feel that way is probably because I've rarely ever played Monkey Ball in the past. I vaguely remember playing Super Monkey Ball on my old iPod or whatever, but definitely don't remember any details. I just kind of have Banana Blitz in my collection without really knowing when it appeared in it as a kid. Oh, I don't know, maybe I messed around with it for a while without knowing what I was doing. Perhaps the most recent time I played a Monkey Ball game was when I was at some random arcade and was really bad at it.
But despite this very brief history of mine, I still remember it being pretty fun. I wish I could say more than that, but that's all I really remember, so hey, let's give it a try now and see how it holds up today.
Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating how loud the soundbite was, but just don't leave the channel on for too long because it will definitely make you go insane. Anyways, so this game has two different game modes, the party mini games and just the game, I guess. Maybe I'll go back to the party games later, but I'm just gonna knock out the main mode first. Before we get into things, we have to choose from the selection of adorable little monkey characters. I chose Yan Yan because she's just super cute, and I mean, just look at her, she looks like she's ready for a challenge. And it seems the controls are pretty simple, just tilt the Wiimote in the direction you want to go and jump with A. Apparently you can also jump by pressing B while you swing the Wiimote up?
Much like how you can either shit in the toilet or shit in the shower.
The game's story starts, and it's really as simple as it gets. The monkeys are admiring these gold bananas, and this big jerk pirate monkey steals it with his big ass claws and leaves. Bye! Of course, the monkeys get super pissed, and then it fades to black.
He is screwed, dude.
And then, oh my.
This sounds amazing!
Holy crap, dude, this music is one hell of an opening theme. I don't even know how to describe it. All I can say is, damn, I feel ready to play Super Monkey Ball. The levels themselves are pretty simple and are really just there to get used to the controls, but I can't even complain because this music just hypes you up, dude. Oh wow, this game even has bosses. This big bird is the first one, and as expected, it's pretty simple. Just wait for it to put its beak in the floor or get tired from flapping its wings, and then just jump on its head. Bosses in this game are pretty weird, so you don't take damage as much as they just fling you off the stage. Unfortunately, every time you die, you have to redo the entire boss, which means you have to play perfectly every single run. Kinda annoying if I'm being honest, but so far it's alright. And by defeating the boss, we clear the first world and retrieve our first golden banana.
World clear!
What the? Credits already? Sure?
Yeah, $5 a minute seems reasonable.
The credits have this little game where you can collect as many bananas as possible by pointing the Wiimote at the screen. It's a bit janky and not that fun, so I only ever played it once. Oh, it looks like this game also has rankings. I'll put my name there, sure. Moving on to World 2. The music here is amazing as well! Anyways, this world is definitely where things start to actually have some difficulty. Expect moving bridges, these spinny thingies, mazes, some mildly challenging banana bunch spots, and some really hard banana bunch spots. Like, wow, some of these are no joke. Look at this one where you need to go on top of this thin spinning bar here. How am I supposed to collect these and get back on stage? All of this so I can collect 20 bananas for an extra life? Yeah, I don't think I'll bother too much with these. One of these challenging bits was this thin stair one, which, not to brag, but I totally demolished on my second try. And also don't mind the fact that I fell off the easier staircase later. Oh yeah, this is also the world where I realized you could just hold A to speed up the level intro, so if you're a bit annoyed for how slow it is, you could just do that and that should help. The boss of this world is this monkey with these super cool missile blaster arms. This one's also pretty simple, you just need to jump on the missiles to send them back to him. Would have been useful in the war. This one was also fairly simple, though I did die a few times. But yeah, all things considered, this world was also pretty simple, but had some brief challenging moments for sure. Oh, I didn't even notice they had lowercase and special characters for the rankings. A little something cute at the end.
So how are you feeling with the first 2 chapters, exactly?
Well, I was having plain and simple fun, honestly. The game felt really charming and cute and happy. I really thought I was gonna have a blast.
But I take that's kind of how it hooked you initially, right?
Yeah, I'd say it was pretty much the beginning of the end.
Alright, on to the third world, Smooth Sherbet. Music of this one is a bit more mellow in comparison to the last 2 worlds, but it's still a pretty good track.
I guess you could say the music here is really cool.
So what exactly was going on in your mind when you said that at the time?
This world introduces these bumpers that can get pretty challenging to deal with when there's a lot of them in one place, as well as these half-pipe levels where you need to be careful with your speed and balance to make sure you don't fall off. Both pretty solid level types that I don't have too much issue with. Also, I don't really understand why these snowball dispensers are bisexual, but you know what, I'm not really complaining. And speaking of snowballs, the world's boss features some big ones. This hitty will chuck all these snowballs at you until you're close enough to hit it. Once you do, it'll start spinning around to knock you off, but it isn't too hard to avoid if you just run around in a circle. Much like how I deal with most of my problems. Once we get our 3rd gold banana, we can type in our fun name once again and move on to the 4th world. So far, I'm kinda enjoying myself for the most part, I won't lie. This next world is desert themed.
I just don't see how though.
These levels introduce us to these boost panels that launch you the direction the arrow is pointed towards, as well as this one level with these swinging platforms that you need to balance yourself on, which I found a little hard to do. And of course, you can't forget the elephant in the room, the pyramids.
Oh shit.
Small ones just have you pass through them while you're careful not to bump into closing doors, but I really like how they reserve the bigger pyramids for cool stuff, like going in this small entrance for a bunch of bananas, or scaling a giant one to get to the goal. There's even a bonus stage where you have to boost up the pyramid to get bananas.
Oh, I could skip groceries then.
Oh yeah, I guess that's something I forgot to mention, the bonus stages. In previous worlds, these were really simple intermissions after the 4th level where they give you an opportunity to get a ton of bananas. They were really easy then, but this is the first world where they actually do something a bit challenging for them. And for the world boss, holy crap dude, this one's a beast! It's basically a level in of itself. You have to travel in this robot's different body parts.
It's not weird, you gotta believe me.
And destroy everything that gets in your way of pushing the button on its head. You'll find yourself playing whack-a-mole to destroying these missile launchers in the same manner as the last boss, and then, well, destroying a ton of missile launchers. Kinda wish the variety wasn't so lacking.
Who am I kidding though, right?
I mean, this boss has everything. It's got missiles, whack-a-mole, missiles, a button.
One thing I thought was weird though was that I didn't even press the button to beat the boss, but just destroyed the barrier around it, and apparently that was enough. Guess I can't complain, but it was just something odd I noticed. And then boom, just like that, that's our 4th banana. Let's put in our name here and move on to Pirate's Ocean.
So, I'd say the Pirate's Ocean level is really where my mental health started to decline.
I see.
It wasn't noticeable or anything like that, but I think it really was the beginning of my descent.
The first level has you walk the plank, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that.
You have to roll on this super thin pathway or else you'll fall into this pit of monsters, which I honestly have no idea why they exist, since they do basically nothing and you could just go back up pretty easily. After that, you need to choose one of these pathways depending on if you want to challenge yourself with these bananas or not. It definitely took me a few tries, but damn, somehow I was able to nab them all despite how ridiculously thin and curved the path was. Oh god, if you thought the swinging platforms in the previous world was hard, this one will not be pulling— Oh come on, I shouldn't bounce off that easily! Platforms are way smaller, they swing for so so much longer. It can honestly be a real drag, especially if you die later on, because then you'll need to reset your 2-minute timer and wait for these super slow platforms to get to you. Doesn't help that the music this time really isn't that good either. I felt that it made me go crazy more than it did hype me up like the first world.
Is that a hamster wheel?
Hello, my name is Kyle, and welcome to GameStop, the place where we stop your game. True. What animal did I buy this for, Kyle?
So you have to ride the inside of this wheel on this track, and you have to maneuver your way around these bumpers, which they do not give you a lot of space for you to do. In fact, at one point, they just cover the whole thing with bumpers, which forces you to jump while on a moving wheel. Ridiculous, but I was able to do it. Ugh, level 7 was one of the worst, dude. Pretty sure I probably had to attempt to jump on this moving slinky cube thing like 10 times.
I swear, it felt like I was jumping on time with every attempt, but I don't know, I guess I just need to jump earlier for how fast it moves.
Don't even get me started on how confused I was with how to get this extra banana bunch. The height you need for that BS is beyond me. Also, why did they just put a bunch of monsters in this random corner? I really thought there was maybe like an extra banana bunch there or something, but nope. I guess the developers got really bored and just wanted to slap shit everywhere. But the absolute worst level has got to be the spiral one. You have to be so precise with your unprotected jumps across these small gaps whilst on a super steep incline. The beginning part was doable, but this ending section where you have to jump off the spiral and onto the platform in the middle made me lose it. The fact that you have to spend so much time getting back to where you were is infuriating. All while the same mind-numbing music is buzzing along in the background. In the footage, it looks like I'm goofing around, but I swear it was so much harder to keep my balance to get onto the platform. And after all that, we're finally at the boss. This one probably gave me the most trouble just for how slippery everything was. Half the time I fall off because of janky hurtbox shifting all over the place. I guess that's kind of a gripe I have with a lot of the bosses. I guess it's supposed to be the point since we don't have health, but I don't know, man. It just makes the bosses feel super punishing, and dying on them feels so much more irritating than any other game with boss battles. I guess one of the notable things I discovered in this boss is I can actually successively attack it without giving it the time to recover, but only in the first half of health for some reason. After that, it just stops working and tries to go back to the sea to jump on the stage later. A bit odd, but after all that, we finally got the 5th gold banana. Man, that world was frustrating. This one actually took me 2 tries to get through without using a continue, so I'm definitely glad that's over.
We still got 3 more worlds to go. Here goes nothing.
So, what would you say kept you going, as frustrating as the world was?
I thought it would be manageable. I knew it would be hard and difficult because I've heard things like that from the series, but I believed it would be doable.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but then you kind of started to understand that the game wasn't really designed for feasibility.
No, yeah, you got it exactly, honestly.
The first level of this world is pretty straightforward, like literally it's just a glorified straight path with these extra bananas to collect on this checkerboard thing if you want. And the second level is, oh no, this one is pretty patience testing. Half the level is just made up of just waiting for this elevator to take you up to this other smaller elevator, which takes you up to this tiny platform with railing there to bump you off.
I mean, you can't make it too easy, right?
And as for the railing itself, don't go for that banana bunch, just don't. You're not gonna survive. You will have to jump at the end, but thankfully the goal is right there, so you don't need to worry about landing on this stupid thin railing.
I spent a couple minutes here. I got a bit mad. But it's over now, so let's see what's now.
Oh, god damn it!
This one is ridiculous, dude. If you thought the other wheel level was stupid, this is where it gets even worse. You need to once again wait for this wheel to slowly get to you, and then somehow precisely jump on the wheel in a way that you don't knock yourself out of it. Then, you need to transport yourself from your current wheel to a smaller wheel without falling off. And then, you need to jump off your wheel again to land on this really small wheel. And oh boy, when I say small, I mean it.
I mean, just look at this! The game doesn't even bother zooming in so I can see what's in front of me, so I'm just stuck watching the whole screen being taken up by the damn wheel.
Luckily, if you just focus on the flickering of what is visible thanks to the holes in the loop, it isn't too big a deal, but even still, it's pretty annoying. And the level after this is... Yeah, we're nowhere near done with the rail sections. After jumping on these Mushroom Gorge platforms, you have to jump on this rail, slide down, jump on the next rail, balance yourself and tilt backwards on the curved part since that's a place you can fall off from if you're not careful, and then go on this next rail, which is... What?!
I don't know. How do I go down these rails without falling?
So what you need to do is to move forward, but only to the point where you're about to fall off, and then pull backwards right when you're about to fall, so you just don't slip off the rails.
But be careful!
Once you're in the middle of the rail, you'll want to tilt forward so you don't just slide back down to the middle. Otherwise, you'll just be stuck in no man's land. I managed to jump up to the goal, but it could have gone wrong pretty easily, honestly.
God, I hope this next one won't be as bad.
Oh, this one really isn't that bad. Well, who knows, maybe the rest of this world will actually be- Oh, fuck off! Well, looks like I'm finally at the part of the game where they want me to zip through the stage as quickly as possible on the thinnest ground possible.
I died so many times here. Over 30, in fact.
This stage is so stupidly slippery. It doesn't matter what direction you tilt in, it can still happen. Turning left when you're going left, that could still screw you over.
Want to see how I did it? Let me show you. I don't know, Suga. Is that what you want me to do? Is that what you want me to do? Does that make sense to you? Is that what?
Oh god, there's still one more damn level. Okay, let's see what it is.
I mean, it doesn't look horrible. It's horrible.
So, you remember those slinky cubes from the pirate level? This time you have to jump from cube to cube, and they're even faster now!
I mean, that's just the obvious next step. Is that an accordion elevator?
And after all of that, we finally reach the boss. This boss is, once again, more annoying than difficult. You have to aim for a microphone, but it's just so finicky and small that it can take you a while to actually hit it. She summons asteroids from the sky to knock you off, as well as screams at you to make you go, but besides that, there really isn't too much there to screw you over too bad.
Oh, is that so?
This is all there is to life. Just playing the same damn Monkey Ball Banana Blitz level over and over again.
I don't know, maybe.
Anyways, once we're done with that, we got it!
2 more worlds to go!
I was in deep denial, honestly. I was in deep denial that there was a problem. All I really cared about at the time was wanting to beat the game.
And why is that, Ahmed?
I don't know. I guess just to prove that I could do it.
So what we're seeing here in Ahmed is that his motivation to beat this game mainly comes down to satisfying his ego and self-worth. Now, cultivating a healthy ego is really important for our well-being, but it seems to be manifesting in a lot more toxic way, and his search for external validation from other people is certainly not going to keep him happy.
Let me just stop here for a second and explain just why I'm so frustrated. I'll say this, okay? Beating level once is not actually that hard. It's that if you want to go for a no-continue run, you really gotta play well on each level, or else you'll lose that beautiful shiny crown on the world select screen. And the absolute worst part of this is that the game literally does not let you retry the world when you get a game over. If you lose all your lives and you come back to the world, you just pick up where you left off. So what's even the point of telling me that the game's over?
I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, to select stuff on the menu, you need to tilt the Wiimote. Not point, not use the D-pad, but tilt. Also, A and B are both select. Minus is to go back. The only way to pause the game is to hold down the plus button. Not press it, hold it.
Well, whatever. Weird menu grips aside, let's get into the second to last world of the game, volcanic pools. For the first level, we have...
Oh boy.
So this level has these big inclines that you need these boost pads to get up. Once you get boosted up, there are these platforms that you can land on to get bonus bananas, which I ended up doing a lot since they weren't too tough to get. Being launched isn't much of an issue, since if you just keep your Wiimote still, you'll most likely be okay, since you aren't turning when you bounce off the inclined ground. These boost pads can be pretty annoying, though. You have to be going up them, or else you'll just kind of go up an inch and then awkwardly awkwardly fall off, so if you end up going the other way, you're gonna want to jump over them, which can be a bit frustrating. The worst part of this stage has got to be the ending. I swear to God, I died so many times bouncing off this stupid bowl thing. I eventually figured out that you need to pull back as far as possible when you're at the top of the slope, but man, I just wish you didn't need to go everywhere when you bounce off of something in this game. Actually, scratch that. The absolute worst part of the stage is this ending tube section. Dear Lord, why the hell couldn't developers just put the damn goal directly on the end of the tube? Why make it so you need to try it again and again and again just to understand how to get a good angle to go through it? I swear, I had no idea if I had to jump at the end or just tilt downwards or maybe not tilt at all. My countless replays of this stage, I ran into these issues so many times, which made it infuriating.
Ladies, gentlemen, and those in between, level 1!
For level 2, we have rails.
I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. Here's some of the times I died on this stage.
Moving on to level 3, okay, wow, this one's pretty easy actually. You just need to go through these holes on these tilting discs and eventually just funnel into the goal. That's actually way closer to the hole. I don't know why they couldn't just do that for level 1, but whatever. And for level 4... This is the third hardest level in the world. First, you have to go down this spiral without falling down, which wasn't too hard, but that didn't stop me from falling off. But that's not the hard part. The most frustrating section of this second bit is where you have this thin curved line you have to go down. And I don't know why, but it is just so much harder to balance yourself here. I swear, you just slip off, and you need to be so skillful with your Wiimote just to be able to do this properly. Let me just show you how I have to play this level to beat it.
I died a lot to figure that out.
And of course, the third hardest level should be followed by the second hardest level.
Level 3 was nice.
These freaking spinning tiles. These things haunt me in my nightmares. I swear, I thought I was doing fine with this level in my first few playthroughs, but something happened where I just got stuck here for some reason. I tried jumping and I tried just walking across the panels as they spin to a horizontal orientation, but nothing was working. At some point I realized that walking across when the platforms were horizontal was the best strategy, but dear God, it took me way too long to figure that out.
I spent a little bit of time.
Level 6 is, once again, rails. I won't lie, this level wasn't the worst thing ever.
You know, for hell!
The weirdest part of this level is the beginning, where for some reason these two rails on the sides are too wide for you to ride on, so you have to ride the middle instead. But once you figure that out, it's basically a non-issue. What the real problem was... And level 7 is...
Great heavens.
You know, this level really shouldn't be that hard. I mean, it's just a spinning spiral, right? It should be simple, right? Well, say hello to the world's worst camera person, because every time you want to go up this damn thing, the camera thinks it's a good idea to point towards your character's face.
That's not even the hardest part.
You need to jump in the middle of the spiral for the goal again. It won't work the way you expect it to.
Never!
That's basically the gist of this level. Stupid spiral section and stupid physics of jumping off to the goal. Needless to say, this is probably the hardest level in the world in my opinion.
They made a level after this one.
The last level of this world has you jump over these big blocks with boost pads, which actually wasn't too bad, until it was for a bit. Oopsie. And then they make you boost on this thin curved line with boost pads.
I swear, like with level 5, this level wasn't hard at first, but it just became a problem somehow. Like, I just kept falling off the line, and it was so devastating because of how much time I poured in the other 7 levels to get a no-continue run, but you know what? Whatever, let's just see the boss.
squares.
This boss was really patience testing. It takes such a long time to chip away at this monkey's health bar because you have to wait for it to do its attacks with these synchronized ball things for 10 seconds, let them collapse, and then chase the monkey with the really small hurt box running all over the place while it bounces off of different balls of different sizes, which makes it really tricky to hit it in time for its next attack. I found that every time I beat this boss, it came down to the very last second. The game really wanted you to hit this boss every time the balls collapse, or else you would just not be able to win.
But eventually I did it. All 8 levels plus the boss. Without using a single continue. He took everything in me. And there's still one more world. Here we go!
So, moving into the 8th world, Ahmed's morale was quite low, but his motivation remained relatively the same. And the reason for this is that in his mind, he kind of saw this as the last push. And he thought that if he could just beat this one world, then he would feel accomplished and worthy enough to stop playing.
Space case, huh? Well, that's one way to put it. The first level actually isn't that bad. The biggest hurdle with it is that it has the track tilt right and left in the beginning and at the end, but if you just keep jumping and avoiding the boost panels, you'll actually be alright for the most part. It had a learning curve, but it was nowhere near as bad as something like level 7 of the last world.
I'm not keeping my hopes up.
Level 2 was even easier? Yeah, I mean, you could just skip the upper level altogether and just pass towards the goal. Even level 3 was pretty simple. It's basically just a simple maze that have these small inclines. At some point, they get rid of the guardrails, but it's no biggie.
Why are these levels getting easier?
As for level 4...
Death comes for all!
So you remember those cool boost panels that would, help you boost to where you need to go? Well, yeah, you can't really trust them anymore. These arrows here will make you boost away from the stage to your doom, so you'll have to jump over those. And good lord, this boost ramp.
What do you think that does for me?
You just fly off the stage. It's hard, though I eventually found a strategy where I can pull back at the right time to get myself to carefully land where I need to be.
I wish that was the end.
You also have to jump over these last boost panels very precisely to make sure you don't go flying off. I found a good strategy for precise jumps at this point where I can tilt forward, jump, and then quickly tilt backwards on landing. Learning how to halt my momentum completely was basically necessary from here on. The drawback is that you still bounce a bit, but, Monkey Ball is a hard game.
No way!
And then there's the last jump that I died, basically the same amount as the first boost ramp. I had to use a similar strategy to it as well, but it really didn't make it any easier to do. After scooping up some bananas in this giant bowl and move on to level 5, which,
This is one of the easier ones.
At this point, thin footing was something I got used to traversing. You just pay attention to your monkey's foot and make sure it doesn't go off the floor, you'll be good. Level 6... So, the first spinny thingies that you go on are fine, you just have to go in this little curve and it transports you to the second one, and then that curve will take you to the floor. But when the other ones spin the other way...
Why?
And then there's this one that also moves back and forth alongside spinning.
I'm jumping over this.
And believe it or not, that strategy seems to work more often than not, so it wasn't too bad to just do. Moving on to level 7, we start with another spiral. That doesn't spin!
Hi, Super Monkey Ball. Oh, you didn't punch me this time.
And after that, you'll need to jump over these balls moving towards you Donkey Kong style, and then hop off the half pipe to move on to...
What the hell is this, Sega?
That is what I like to call a slanted upwards boost incline, or Subi for short. Why is that so infuriating? Well... And then finally, we have level 8.
Oh yeah, I know what we can make for a good level. Let's make them stand on a ball. In a ball!
I mean, I don't know you all. Have you ever tried bouncing 2 balls on each other? It's not easy! But after some trial and error, I found a strategy to land on the lower platform, and the rest of the level is pretty straightforward.
Now we got the final boss. To your worst game. Guess I won't be going to that wedding after all.
So the first thing this guy does every time is this spinning move that you're supposed to jump over. If you get caught in this thing, it's a guaranteed death. He scoops you up and throws you off stage. And every time he does it, it will feel so much more painful than it looks. His other move is slamming his arm into the ground, which can be avoided by just constantly moving to the left or right. You need to wait for him to do either of these moves and then bash his ass to inflict damage. After that, he'll get pissed every time without exception, and then start slamming his arms over and over, which I actually figured out that you don't need to do anything to avoid it as long as you just stand still, which I just found hilarious.
Now, if you're a keen listener, you might have noticed that I said supposed to at the beginning of my explanation. And, well, the reason for that is I found another way.
After dying over and over and over and over and over, I was really desperate to just try something that would work. What if I just held forward the entire time? I don't know.
It works!
As long as you're between his legs and holding forward when he's doing the spinning move, you'll basically be fine every time. Even for the arm slamming move, I found this strategy worked fairly well. I was even able to hit his hitbox from this position, which was huge.
Until you get to the second phase.
When you get him to half health, he jumps and then breaks the floor so that'll flow upwards to make you jump off. He also summons a bunch of balls above him. Why?
Well, you know, you.
Besides that, the only new move he really has is the jumping move I mentioned earlier, which he might do sometimes instead of the arm slamming flurry. But even then, I just held forward and tried to avoid being on the outer edge of the stage so I wouldn't fall off. Was the strategy consistent? It took so many tries. I had to spend hours just dying over and over and over again. It got to the point where I was able to play the previous level so well that I was able to stock up on 11 lives in one run, only to use all of them. I'm on my last life now. It was a good run, but I guess it wasn't enough. Might as well try one more time. Wow, well, I got to the second phase. I had to try my best here, and... oh my god. Oh my god, I'm really close! I just have 2 more hits to go! Come on, avoid the arm! Oh my god, just 1 more hit! Please let this be it!
Yes, yes, yes! Oh my god! I did it! Yes! Yeah! It's over! Yes! Oh my god! Oh, I beat the game. I don't have to do that again. Whew. Congratulations, you cleared 8 worlds without using continue. You can now play world 9? There's a world 9?
Yep, we still got 1 more extra world. Sinking Swamp. A reward for my misery.
I was devastated. I mean, in the back of my mind, I thought that maybe the game would want to reward you for beating all levels without using continue, but even then, after that final boss, I just thought it was ridiculous that the game would try to entice me for more.
And what did you decide to do after that?
I don't know. I don't even know what to do anymore. I was just so deep in it that I had to keep going.
So in our conversation, I started to notice some pretty alarming signs of addiction. And when we think about process addictions, we tend to think of things like gambling, pornography, shopping, and even stuff like video games. But when we're thinking about Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, it's just a completely different beast altogether. Started in canceling important plans, had trouble with consistent sleep, developed symptoms of depression. It really was not looking too bright for him.
I actually completed level 1 on my first attempt. It's basically just a straight line with these things pushing you off. The last part where you boost off isn't that bad. I always found it to just take me directly to the goal safely. Level 2, however, required a good bit of practice. You have to ride this half pipe, but unlike previous levels with half pipes, this one is fairly bumpy, has a steep incline, and you have to beat it in 20 seconds.
Hey, what about it? It's finally cured of cancer.
But after eventually mastering that, I move on to level 3, which, if you were good at stopping your momentum for World 8, you're gonna have a lot of trouble. Thankfully, that wasn't the super tough part.
Let me show you why this level is a problem.
Kill yourself!
There is absolutely no reason for this enemy to exist here besides just fucking with you. I absolutely wish that jumping on this guy would just make you bounce up normally, but it just makes you slide off. It is absolutely infuriating because there's basically no alternative to get yourself to the platform after that. You have to jump in a tiny, tiny area where it'll theoretically give you the space to quickly jump to the next platform. Yeah, I'm not playing this one normally. Level 5 involves you moving through these curved and slanted areas safely. You'll need to jump constantly to keep yourself on stage, but I swear, this slant in particular doesn't cooperate. No matter what I did, I just slipped off every time. After many attempts, I was able to figure out that the faster you go down the slope to this point and jump to the highest point of the curve, the better it'll be for you to stay on stage. Mind you, just staying on the stage requires you to basically be trying to curve directly to the opposite direction you want to go while jumping constantly. This one was just stupid. Moving on to level 6.
What the fuck is this?
So, this level has many parts.
Yay!
First, you have to carefully walk on this thin road, then avoid getting knocked off by Mr. Face here. Then you have to jump off this gigantic incline because I don't want to fuck around with sliding down it. Then, you have to be super patient with these thin moving stairs while jumping on all of them without dying. Then, you have to jump on yet another platform with another face that can screw you over.
Sega, the level needs to end.
All of those parts don't even compare to the ending section. Getting onto this next thin road is a whole song and dance in itself. No matter what I did, I found myself sliding off the road every time!
You know what you have to do? You have to mash A and point it towards you. Like this.
This was the only way I could find out how to get down the slope safely. Even then, I found myself pulling back so much that the camera would change and screw me over. So you need to very quickly get yourself back to normal orientation to even survive. And then there's this last incline, which we called a Subi earlier.
Fuck this incline.
God, at least the last Subi put the goal on a platform. This time you have to make sure you boost into the goal at the very end of the line. The amount of times I went flying off was uncountable. It took me literal hours to find a strategy that resembles consistency. Like before, you have to watch your monkey's foot to stay on the stage, but this time I made sure to make it so I stayed on this line in the middle of it. And you know, doing that helped me get to the goal more often. But anyways, moving on to level 7.
Screw this dude, I'm not doing this. Man, what the f?
Thankfully, this stage didn't kill me. The guardrails on the side of the road definitely helped, and jumping over these boost panels to climb to the top was way easier than somehow trying to avoid these moving walls at a higher speed.
I don't know about you, but I am so glad there's no boss for this level. After all, I did beat the final boss, and I don't think I'm ready for a boss harder than that. But unfortunately, they did replace it with a level.
At this point, Sega said,
Wait a second. I hate our player base.
this is the second hardest stage in this world, and it is also unfortunately the last one. So if you beat level 6 and then lose here, you have to do it all over again. You see, I know that because that happened to me. This level can be summarized as just dropping from thin platform to even thinner platform to even thinner platform. After you do that, you need to carefully balance yourself on this thin road that also has a steep incline you need to jump onto in the middle. And no, those rails do not help. In fact, they make things worse.
Yes! Finally! I'm done! Congratulations!
Even after everything I did, the game wants more. Ultra Heaven.
Ultra Heaven. It's like they're messing with me. It's like they're insulting me. What kind of heaven is this? This should be hell!
Whatever. Let's first level. starting off with a nice pleasant stroll, you have to jump across gigantic curves until you make it to this loop-de-loop. It took me a good amount of time to figure out, but it didn't drive me insane, whatever that means anymore. Level 2 was actually fairly simple, surprisingly. You just have to jump over these hurdles on this conveyor belt and you should be okay. On to level 3.
This is impossible. There's no way. There's no way this game is being serious.
I found a strategy to be able to skip through the whole level, but man, it was not ideal. I don't even know how I managed to pull it off, let alone multiple times. The next level is
Torture. This was torture.
so you have these spinning, moving cans. It's hard. You have to jump a lot and fall a lot. Then you have this last section where they want you to ride this other moving can to get to this other one. But that's bullshit, so I just went straight to the last can, making sure I timed my jump in parallel to when the goal shows up, and it went okay. Level...
What? What?
Do my eyes deceive me? Did they really just make a level with almost exclusively spiky platforms?
Motherfucking Ultra Heaven, huh? Ultra Heaven? What a sick, wretched joke!
No, fuck this dude. I'm gonna show this level who the fuck is boss around here.
Buckle up, because I'm in it for the log haul.
I refuse to lose to this stupid game. The first section is the easiest one since there's no jumping involved, but because of how stupid this level is, I decided to go for these square platforms that give you bonus bananas because A, they're flat surfaces I can rely on, and B, I don't have time for this But after that, oh my god! I tried so much just to get across here. This just doesn't work as a level! You literally cannot consistently land on these stupid things. The direction you bounce is up to chance and nothing else. This design is ridiculous.
This was the point where Ahmed really found a huge roadblock when it came to beating this game completely, and this was completely unheard of, even in comparison to the rest of the levels in its entirety. For the first time, Ahmed found a level that he just could not beat. All the other levels he was able to beat at least just once, but this one was different. This one felt practically impossible, and Ahmed was really on his last straw.
I tried going through it diagonally so I could be moving towards the next flat surface. I tried just going through it quickly. All of it results in death. But after hours and hours of playing and then giving up and consulting the internet, I figured out that these orange and yellow spikes have different heights, which means you need to be actively going for these yellow ones instead of these orange ones to give yourself a chance to make it across. Oh my god! I actually made it across! But now we have even smaller spiky platforms.
We don't even know how to explain it anymore. It just writes itself at this point. We just look at it!
After dying a billion freaking times, and you need to redo that last part a billion freaking times, I figured out that you actually want to go for the middle this time, despite the orange spike being there. Why? Because you also have to somehow land safely on this spiky path of only orange spikes.
I probably played this stage well over 700, 800 attempts. Oh, maybe even 1,000. And I only ever touched, not landed, touched these set of spikes. Not like 10, maybe 15 times.
Minutes turned to hours, turned to days, and to weeks. At this point, I wasn't even sure if there was an end in sight. Just infinite repeats as far as I could look ahead. But then, even then, a miracle happened.
But after over 5 hours of attempts on this impossible stage, I finally landed safely on the orange spikes.
Oh my god, oh my god. I just need to do this last part right. I think I need to. At that point, I knew I just had to stop. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing.
The fact that developers probably couldn't even consistently beat the stage to the point where a glitch like that exists. I knew it was time for me to stop, because if the developers didn't give a shit, why should I?
Well, Ahmed, I think one thing that could be beneficial for you to do is to start thinking about how maybe you could do something, but really ask yourself if it's something that you should do, because the reality is that a lot of people can do things if they really push themselves to, but if it's not something you're passionate about, or if it's not something that you care about, then it could just make things a lot worse for people.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Listen, Ahmed, Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz does not have to dictate your life anymore, you understand?
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Hey Jimmy, these people we're talking about? Alright. Hi, I'm the manager here. What the hell are you two doing? This is private property. You can't just waltz in here and have cameras set up for a documentary, alright? I'm gonna call the cops, you don't get the hell out of here.
I have clogged all of your toilets. None of them work anymore.
Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz really pushed me to my limits. It had some fun moments, but what really made it stand out was its frustrating latter half of the world. I actually think it's okay to try to challenge oneself and play difficult levels. When it's taking a toll on your mental health, that's when I know it's best to take a break. Maybe I'll come back to that one stupid fucking idiotic bullshit level again sometime, but for now, I'm moving on to better things.
Hey there! Hey, thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video to other people. It would mean a lot to me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta get to the goal before the time runs out.